Pasuk in Yeshaya says, "L'chulam b'shem yikra." There, the pasuk is talking Su'umara minechem. Look at the stars, look at the sun, and Hashem gave each one a name. Each of the stars. And Pasuk in Tehillim says L'chulam shem mois yikros, that the Hashem calls each of the stars by its names. Medrash points out, Medrash in Parashat Vayakal points out the subtle difference between these two psukim. Is it shem or shemois? Is it one name or is it names? As we understand from the Medrash understanding that it's a mashal to Klal Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls Klal Yisrael by one name and Hashem calls Klal Yisrael by multiple names. And the Medrash says that's exactly how it is. Sometimes Kishul writes it, sometimes he calls Klal Yisrael by one name, Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Echad, Goy Echad, and sometimes he calls them by the individual names. Each Yid has his own individual worth as part of the Jewish nation. Says the Shem Shmuel brings the name of his father, the Avnei Nezer, that this is the strength of Klal Yisrael is in our unity as well as our individuality, because each Yid has what to contribute to Klal Yisrael. Each Yid has his own talents and his own goals that he's supposed to reach, his own potential as an individual. But of course we are worthless if we are each one for ourselves. Of course we have to be unified as a Goy Echad Ba'aretz. This is what the Medrash is teaching us. Interesting, we find that Rabbi Akiva, the great Rabbi Akiva, who taught us that the entire Torah stands on the foundation of the one pasuk, of the one mitzvah, Ahavta l'reacha kamecha. He's the one who taught us this great lesson, and yet his own Talmidim, the 24,000 Talmidim who died during the days of Sfiras HaOmer, during the days of the Omer, their sin, their chet, on their level, of course, was that they were loy nagu kavitz el zelek. The Gemara says in Yavamis. How can that be? How can the students of Rabbi Akiva, the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, who received this lesson, who were able to hear it from Rabbi Akiva himself, and they weren't able to show, or they were lacking the proper kavod zelazeh? The Shem Shmuel says, based on his father's explanation of the Medrash, that perhaps the Talmid of Rabbi Akiva, they so internalized v'ahavta l'reacha kamecha until they felt themselves like two parts of a body. They didn't feel themselves as individuals at all. It would be ludicrous to expect that a hand should praise the leg. Wow, you're so amazing, you can walk. It's the person who's walking, using his hands, using his legs. He's active in all his organs of his body, and it doesn't make sense that one organ that should have to show covet, should have to praise another part of the body. And therefore the Talmid of Rabbi Akiva, on their level, they were lacking this appreciation of the individuality and the individual worth of each Yid and each of Talmud Chacham and each of their friends on their level. And that was perhaps the chet which brought to the terrible epidemic, the terrible loss of the 24,000 Talmidim. The Gemara says in Brachas, Shem Shmuel continues that the night is split up into 3 Ashmeres. So the first Ashmer, the second Ashmer, and the third one. And the third one, the Gemara has signs for each one. How can you tell when we're in the first one, the second, the third one? The third one, the Gemara says that Tinek Yonik Mishtei Imai, that the babies are nursing from their mother, and the parents are talking to each other. The Mishaperes and Baila. So says the Shem Shmuel, this is a lesson, this is a mashal to any type of dark time, of course, to the great Golos, that's such a long Golos, but towards the end of the Golos, to the last final third, we can already see the light, we can already appreciate that we're reaching the end of the Golos, and the children are coming closer to the parents are coming closer to each other. It's a mashal, it symbolizes that the Klal Yisrael is coming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all the pieces are coming back to where they're supposed to be. This is true on the big level, on the macro level. It's also true on the micro level, in every type of Golos, any type of night, any type of long night, including the days of the Omer, says the Shem Shmuel. We're now coming closer. We're entering now the third portion of the Sfiras HaOmer. We have from Lag BaOmer till the end. We had 32 days. Now we have another 16 days till the end. We're in the final stretch, and during the stretch of the Shem Shmuel, we can already start to feel the presence of Shavuos, which is coming. Shavuos is a time of Matan Torah. During the time of Matan Torah, of course, our strength in being Mekabel the Torah was because we were Ki'ish Echad V'Leiv Echad. We came together, are unified. But also, as we know, each person has his chelik, his individual chelik in the Torah. So we're Mekabel Torah as a group, as a nation, and also as an individual. And it's during that time when we're able to overcome the terrible Avelus the terrible mourning of the Talmid of Rabbi Akiva, and we're able to overcome that and start focusing on both of these aspects of appreciating our unity as well as appreciating each of ourselves and each of the other individual talents and individual worth as part of this great Klal Yisrael. Good Shabbos and Lag ba-Omer.